Today on Another World.
Oh, wonderful to see you again, son. I'm just fine.
I wanted that baby to have everything that I didn't have.
You can still give our baby lots and lots of wonderful things.
No, I can't.
Why not?
Because Laverty took it away. No, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to kill him.
You want to spend the rest of your life with me?
Of course I do.
Will you marry me?
And now, the continuing story of Another World.
Too close, don't you think?
No.
I think we'll make him nervous.
Come on, will you sit down? He's going to be glad to see us, you know that. Joey's going to want to see you right here.
I'm so worried.
Oh, it's going to be all right. Everything's going to be fine.
How can you be so sure of that?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I know Ed Brookman. He's a good lawyer. He's going to handle things.
Will he be here?
Sure.
I thought you said this was just a hearing.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not a trial or anything like that, but still in all, they have to bring out evidence, you know, as if it were a trial. He's going to try to, well, he's going to show Joey's point of view.
Oh, honey.
Oh, hi, kiddo. How are you?
What are you?
Oh, okay.
Baby.
Hi.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. How are you feeling, okay?
Well, I'm...
She's a little nervous.
Yeah, well, so am I.
Well, it's going to be okay, Eileen.
Oh, Paul, you look very good.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, there's no reason to look worried.
Uncle Paul's nervous, I can tell.
I know, telling everyone everything's going to be okay, yes.
Look, I don't want to bring your hopes up too high or anything, but I think I might have some good news.
Oh?
I
What?
would have called you last night and told you all about it, but like I said, I'm not sure what kind of effect this might have on the hearing.
Well, what is it, honey?
I talked to Scott Bradley at his new office yesterday.
Scott Bradley, now he's the new DA, isn't he?
Right.
I see. Well, why did you go see him?
Well, I told him how Phil used Serenity House to take advantage of me.
And what did he say?
He was glad. He was glad that I told him. I mean, he said it would help a lot.
Well, Paul, now, he's on the other side now, isn't he? I mean, can he be trusted?
Oh, of course he can be, sure.
I mean, thank you. Thank you so much for going to see him.
Mrs. Perini, I told you that I would do anything to make sure Joey didn't stay in jail, and I meant that.
Honey, don't go too far now. He's not out yet.
Well, Uncle Paul, I mean, I haven't told you everything.
Well, what else?
Well, Sally also went to the district attorney's office, and some other girls from Serenity House, and they all gave him statements saying how Phil seduced them.
That creep. No wonder Joey did what he did.
Sally brought these girls in?
Yes, she did.
Yes? Now, why would she do this? I don't understand.
Well, I went to her and I asked her to do it.
And little Sally agreed to this?
I think she's sorry for all the trouble she's caused Joey. I really do.
Sounds like she's trying to make up for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, now, Eileen, is this all official? I mean, are the statements signed and everything?
Yes, Scott had to sign them.
Oh, my. Yeah, so the judge will read them then, yes?
I think that's the idea.
Well, Paul, I mean, if the judge reads that, I mean, how could he possibly put Joey in jail?
Well, it still could be a little chancy.
Look, Mrs. Perini, the one thing that I'm afraid of is that Joey's going to be mad because I told Scott and I told everyone what happened between me and Phil.
Sweetheart, don't you worry about that. Eventually, Joey will know that you did the right thing.
Do you really think so?
Oh, I'll make sure.
Thank you. Do you know where I'd be? How are you? That's good.
Hello, Angie.
Hi, sweetheart. Everything's going to be all right. You just have to keep calm, that's all.
Yeah, I hope so.
You hope so?
Yeah.
Well, why do you say it like that?
Well, I got some bad news, Mama.
Oh, no, sweetheart. Why?
I couldn't get the bail money from Willis.
Willis wouldn't give it to you.
He can't give it, Mama. He's having bad business problems, so he doesn't have any money.
You don't have to explain.
You all looked kind of happy before I came in. What's going on?
Paul, if Joey's proven innocent, we won't have to raise bail, will we?
Oh, no, of course not.
Oh, then, sweetheart, everything might be okay.
What, you think Joey might get off?
Yes, we hope so.
Oh, good.
Good.
Go away.
Hello.
Well, should be soon enough. Joe.
It's Joey. Hi, Joey. Is he going to have to wear handcuffs all through the trial?
No. Look. They're taking him off now. Joey, it's okay.
Such a good boy. Why do they have to put him in jail?
Just calm down.
Any minute.
Everybody, please rise. Be seated. The County Criminal Court is now in session. Mr. Perini, you've heard the charges against you. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
You must now plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Excuse me, Your Honor. What was the plea? The plea was guilty.
Guilty?
Yes, Mr. Bradley.
Your Honor.
Something wrong?
Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
The matter seems rather clear-cut, Mr. Bradley.
Well, there is something that I would like to discuss with you and the defense counsel, Your Honor.
Very well, Mr. Bradley.
What are we talking about? Show me how this guy had it coming. You know, I should have gotten to him myself.
We'll have order in the courtroom, please.
Did you advise your client to plead guilty?
No, I did not.
Do you have something to say to the bench, Mr. Bradley?
Your Honor, the plaintiff in this case has not appeared.
Did you interrupt these proceedings to tell me that?
It's a matter of some significance, Your Honor.
It's my understanding that the plaintiff, Mr. Higley, is in the hospital as a result of injuries he sustained in the assault.
Your Honor, Mr. Higley was certified ready for release from the hospital several days ago, although he didn't actually leave the hospital till yesterday.
You mean he's not in the hospital?
Oh, no, sir.
Well, why isn't he here?
I don't know.
He's your witness, Mr. Bradley.
Yes, Your Honor, I know that.
Well, why didn't you get him here?
He disappeared.
In other words, you're saying to me that if the defendant had pleaded not guilty, you wouldn't have a witness.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Why are you telling me this?
In the interest of justice. Your Honor, I have grave doubts about this case.
Well, Mr. Bradley, did you consider making a motion to have the charges dismissed?
Your Honor, as district attorney of this county, I thought it was my obligation to allow Mr. Higley to state his own case under oath.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Brookman?
is there any reason why this hearing shouldn't be terminated with a dismissal?
There certainly is, Mr. Brookman. Your client has pleaded guilty.
Your Honor, there's no question that the assault took place. However, there are mitigating circumstances.
I assume you advised your client that mitigating circumstances can be a justifiable basis for a not guilty plea.
Yes, I did, Your Honor, but I'm not sure the young man felt free to follow my advice.
Let me get this straight. You're recommending that the charges be dropped,
Yes, sir.
and you're making the same motion.
That's right, Your Honor.
Well, I hate to differ with you two gentlemen, but someone has got to stand up for the people of this state. An aggravated assault has taken place. Assaults are against the law in this country. We have a defendant who has pleaded guilty, and it seems to me, regardless of what the district attorney says, that the young man should pay the penalty which society imposes.
Why isn't the guy here? I mean, why isn't the guy going to charge him? I think it's...
I'll have order in this courtroom.
Your Honor, if you will allow me, I think that perhaps I can shed some light on this situation.
Mr. Bradley, I certainly hope so.
Sir, I have taken sworn statements from several young women who are willing to testify that Phil Higley used his position as head of a pseudo-charitable organization in order to seduce them.
Mr. Bradley, if the women were underage, I suggest your office bring charges against Mr. Higley.
The women were of age, Your Honor.
Well, then I fail to see what that has to do with this present case.
Mr. Perini's girlfriend, who happens to be present in the hearing room, was one of the women involved.
Your Honor, that's probably why Mr. Perini pleaded guilty as well as made the assault, to protect her reputation.
Mr. Bradley, do you have the statements you took from these young women with you here today?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Would you like to read those statements into the record?
I'd rather not, Your Honor.
Mr. Bradley, you're making this rather difficult for me.
Your Honor, the defendant is obviously willing to give up several years of his life in order to prevent a public hearing of at least one of those statements.
Would you let me read those statements?
Of course, Your Honor.
Oh, one more thing, Mr. District Attorney. You realize that you're acting now as representative of the people of this county, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
And do you believe that assault is a crime which should go unpunished?
No, sir, I don't.
You gentlemen may go back to your seats.
Thank you.
The District Attorney has brought to my attention the existence of some evidence which is relevant to this case, but which cannot now be admitted legally in open court. It's evidence which I must consider, however. This hearing is recessed for 5 minutes. Would you two gentlemen please come with me?
I think this is the very best place for the punch bowl, don't you? I told you it looked good there this morning before you started moving it all around the apartment. Oh, you sound like you sure got a burr under your saddle. Do I? What's the matter? Blaine, have you forgotten what's going on, like, right now? Joe's hearing, huh? Look, I told you I think you should go if you really want to. Look, Eileen is there with him now. I mean, she doesn't like me. Joey's mother's there. She doesn't like me. Phil's there. He hates me. And, Joey doesn't really like me very much either. So what's the point in going? Maybe if you went, their feelings would change for you. Where is it that people get the idea that I enjoy being kicked around? Sally, it sounds to me like, maybe you're ready to forget Joey. Am I right? Yes. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Blaine. Oh, I know. Are you going to survive? Yeah, I'll survive. I'm glad. Thanks, Blaine. Listen, you don't think that just because you feel this way about Joey, I should change my mind about Jamie, do you? I don't know. Do you want to change your mind about Jamie? No, of course not. Well, then don't. Well, good. I'm glad you feel that way because I want you to answer a question for me, if you will. Well, you want to ask it first? Do you remember when you had that plan about getting Joey over here and spiking his drinks with grain alcohol? Yeah, and that plan never really materialized, did it? But you remember it, don't you? Blaine, why are you bringing that up now? No reason. Well, that I doubt. How do you go about getting grain alcohol, that stuff? You don't. I mean, it's illegal in this state. Well, how were you going to get it? From Alice. I mean, you need a doctor's prescription. Ah, Alice is gone. True. But this isn't... What's that? The grain alcohol you were asking me about the other day? You want to explain that, Sally? Well, after we got to talking about it the other day, I drove out to Alice's. I remembered she had some in the closet, and, well, I got it. See, I still have the keys to the house, even though it's all locked up. And that much I understand. What I don't understand is why did Alice have grain alcohol in the house in the first place? Well, see, they thought that I had frostbite once. Frostbite? Yeah. Well, alcohol's good for the circulation. How did you get frostbite? Well, when I was first adopted by Alice, she left me alone one night. It was the first time. And I went outside. I waited for her on the front porch in the snow. Why? don't know. I was bored. Well, that's no reason. Look, I was a weird kid, Blaine, okay? The point of the story is I'm just trying to explain why we had grain alcohol laying around the house. Sally, I wonder, has anybody ever managed to figure you out? Blaine, look, you're not going to put this in the punch, are you? No, of course not. Not in everybody's punch. Oh, so who's the lucky person? Jamie, you really need to ask? Blaine, look, let me explain something to you about grain alcohol. You see, you can't taste it, and you can't smell it, but it is incredibly strong. Well, you don't need to tell me that. No, you don't understand. You're drunk on this stuff before you know what's happening. Fine. Blaine, Jamie takes one sip of this, he's going to be out. I mean, for the whole evening. You got it? That's the whole idea. Oh, it is? Sure. I hope you don't mind if Jamie ends up having to spend the night because he's in no condition to drive home. Here.
Be seated. Crime of assault is a serious one and should not go unpunished in our society. On the other hand, I have been informed that the plaintiff in this case, although physically healthy at the present time, has failed to appear to testify. In view of this, as well as other extenuating evidence which has been made known to me by the district attorney, I am dismissing the charges against Joseph Perini.
Hi.
What's wrong?
I guess I'm checking to see if the coast is clear.
Well, Kirk's not here, if that's what you mean.
Yes, I guess that's what I meant. Where is His Highness this morning?
It's hard to say.
Does that mean he's next door in Iris's suite?
No, it certainly doesn't.
He's tried to fool you before, Jim.
Jeff, he's not even in town. He's been busy rushing back and forth between here and New York, trying to plug his fingers into as many dikes as possible.
That must have been something to see.
Are you gloating?
No, not a bit.
That's hard to believe.
I feel sorry for the man. I think he's pathetic.
Well, don't lose any sleep over it. He'll be all right.
You see, Kirk, he was like a rising star on the horizon of the business world when I was starting out. I watched him climb up. I used to think he was a very special kind of man. And now I see him for the straw man that he really is, and it's kind of sad.
You sound kind of ludicrous, don't you?
Why? Because I feel sorry for him?
Because he taught you everything you know.
That's a lie.
Oh, my goodness. What happened to all that heartfelt sympathy?
Look, I do not have to harbor the same delusions you do about Kirk to have sympathy for him.
Jeff, you're the one with the delusions.
He went a long way in a short time. He thought he was a big man. A very classy lifestyle, and for a while I kind of shared that exhilaration. And I hate to see a man like that have to grovel in the mud, that's all.
Jeff.
What?
He's not groveling.
I think it'd be kind of difficult for you to see it, even if you were.
What I see is this man has not changed one iota.
Honey, he's just covering.
For what reason?
Because he's afraid that his enemies are going to discover and exploit any weakness they see.
He's not a weak man, Jeff.
I don't think he's feeling very strong today.
I think he's stronger than ever.
What makes you say that?
Because he is about to acquire a share in the wealth of one of America's richest women.
Oh, come on, honey. Iris isn't going to be interested in him now that he's lost his fortune.
Jeff, he has Iris completely fooled. She thinks he's going to use her money to start a new business empire.
I think maybe he's got you completely fooled, too.
Why?
Because you keep saying that you love him just like Iris does.
Look, if Iris knew the kind of man he is, she would never love him. I know everything that he's done, and I love him anyway.
But you haven't seen the worst yet.
How could things get worse?
Very easily. Once the SEC hearings and the stockholder lawsuits begin, As a matter of fact, I just got a subpoena from the SEC. I am going to have to testify about Kirk's business dealings.
Well, then I guess you better show up.
You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Your subpoena with the SEC?
Yes?
No. Why should I know anything about it?
I got in touch with the head of the Laverty Brothers legal department.
Stewart?
Mm-hmm. Stewart's been in touch with the SEC, and it's apparent that someone very high up in the Laverty organization gave them the tip about Kirk.
That's terrible.
Shocking, isn't it?
Does Stewart suspect anyone?
Why did you do it, June?
You think that I would turn Kirk over to the SEC?
Honey, no one else has access to the kind of information they were given.
Not even you?
Not even me.
Why should I believe you?
It's going to be all out in the open once the hearings begin, June.
Well, what does it matter who turned Kirk into the SEC?
Why did you do it? For revenge?
I don't seem to have much control over my actions.
You mean you went this far simply because Kirk was interested in
Jeff,
Iris?
you don't know anything about it.
Honey, look, don't destroy yourself trying to get even with Kirk.
Jeff, I just wish I could wake up from this nightmare that I'm trapped in.
You can wake up if you would just let Kirk go to Iris.
I can't.
Why not?
I can't leave him like this. I can't.
But you could leave him if he were on his own feet again, couldn't you?
No.
Sure, you could. You just admitted that you were confused.
I am, but not about this. I'm not.
Honey, don't you realize you're going to get 10 times more love and respect from me than you are from Kirk?
Oh, Jeff, why do you constantly compare yourself to Kirk?
Well, you can't seem to get him out of your mind.
I wish I could. I wish I could put him out of my mind for good.
Well, then let me help you.
You can't. It's no good. I can't forget him.
Well, then you're just condemning yourself to being miserable.
Jeff, don't you understand? I'm not going to have any peace until I deal with what Kirk is doing to me.
Honey, you are obsessed with Kirk, and something is going to have to be done with that.
I didn't mean to interrupt this touching tableau.
Do you know why she seems upset?
No, why is she upset?
For you.
How nice.
She seems to be very worried about what might happen to you, so why don't you just take it easy on her once in a while, okay?
Listen, I had a very rough day yesterday, and I had to get up at the crack of dawn to fly back here to Bay City first thing this morning, all right? How are you, June? I hope you're feeling a little more civilized than the last time I saw you.
Perhaps.
Certainly not like the good old days, is it?
Did you get a subpoena from the SEC?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I got 3 for 3 different investigations. What's that?
My letter of resignation.
You mean you're staying on at Laverty Brothers?
That's right.
Well, I guess there really isn't any need for you to resign now that I've left.
That's not why I'm staying.
Well, what is the reason?
I'm going to use my position to help you clear your name.
Why?
Because I want to see you get on your feet again.
You really mean that?
Yes? I'll be leaving for New York right away. I'm going to mount an all-out defense against the charges the SEC has brought against you.
Jeff, if you can do that, once Iris and I are married, I will certainly make it worth your while.
Yes. I know you will.
Here, Liz. This came for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
You know, Liz, I really don't understand why you don't write to Herb and tell him you're in your apartment and his letters can be sent there.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Good.
When I answer this letter, I plan to tell him that.
I hope you answer your correspondence promptly.
You're not annoyed, are you?
At what?
Oh, because I told Herb to write me here, care of you.
No, why should that annoy me?
It shouldn't.
It's just something else to think about, that's all.
His plant survived his absence. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is.
Did I tell you he raised begonias?
No, I don't think you did, Liz.
Well, he does. Raised begonias. They're lovely. I've seen pictures of them. Oh, my goodness. He is going to be a discussant at a linguistic conference in Chicago.
Excuse me?
I told you he was a retired linguistics professor, didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes. He's written tons on the Choctaw language.
Oh, you don't say.
They're Indians, you know.
Yes, Liz, I did know that.
Oh, what do you think of that?
What do I think of what, Liz?
Well, it says here that after the conference is over in Chicago, he's thinking of coming here to Bay City for a visit.
Oh, good for him.
Isn't that fantastic?
Of course.
Well, I hope your offer to put him up is still good.
My offer?
Don't you remember?
I didn't offer. You asked me if it would be all right, and I didn't turn you down.
You mean you might turn me down now?
Well, I'll have to give it a little more thought.
Well, I should think you'd be delighted.
Excuse me.
Oh, don't you like the idea of having company? Imagine just what you'd pick up from a man of such learning and erudition.
Liz, just let me answer the door.
All right, yes.
Oh, wonderful to see you again, son. I'm just fine.
Listen, I
Come
think I'm
see.
a little earlier than I said
Oh,
I
don't
would
worry
be.
about it. I knew you wouldn't be...
Hey, Liz! Come over here.
Oh,
Oh, look at you. How are you?
oh, right. Why didn't you tell us you were coming?
You mean you haven't been reading my letters?
Letters. Oh, believe what they were.
Now, come on, Liz.
come on.
Let Russ come on inside and tell us all about his trip.
Oh, you're so tan. You look so
All that outdoor
marvelous.
music out there.
Hello, Kurt.
Oh, well, it's good to see you again.
Well, I'm glad I could find you.
Oh, you've been tracking me down?
Oh, yeah. You could say I have.
Well, that must have been frustrating.
Yes, I've made over a dozen calls to more than a dozen places.
Well, as you know, if I answered all the calls that come pouring in here, I wouldn't have a moment to draw breath.
Yeah, I'm sure you must have been quite a rush.
Yes, but I always have time to talk to you. Come on in. Can I get you anything?
No, thanks.
All right.
What can I do for you? I would like to know your explanation for those.
This first telegram suspends operation at Frame Enterprises.
Yeah, that much I could read, Kurt.
Well, I'm sure you must have expected something like that to happen, at least for the time being.
I didn't expect the other two notices.
This is from the IRS, and it mentions your impropriety and says that I was involved only insofar as I was the one that gave you the money that you failed to report. I hope you don't expect me to play nursemaid to your finances.
Read the third one, Kurt.
No, I don't have to.
You don't have to?
No, that is a subpoena from the SEC. I know what they look like. I have several myself. I think if you're lucky, you can make your testimony to a federal official right here at the county courthouse instead of having to go down to Washington.
If I'm lucky.
That's right.
Do you know what they're accusing me of, Kurt?
No, what?
Conflict of interest in a Corey takeover.
Well, I must admit your position is a bit suspect since you backed me at the stockholders meeting and you were a member of the board of directors.
And you forced me into that position.
Well, then you have nothing to worry about. I'm sure you'll be able to explain that to the SEC.
Oh, well, am I going to have the entire Laverty Brothers legal staff at my disposal to do that?
I really couldn't tell you that.
You couldn't tell me?
No, you see, I am no longer a member of that organization, Willis.
What are you talking about?
I've resigned from Laverty Brothers.
You what?
Resigned.
How can you do that?
The same way you quit any other job. You write a letter, you pick up your check.
Laverty Brothers owns my company.
That's right.
Well, then what do you suggest I do, Kirk?
First, I suggest that you calm down.
Okay. You called the New York headquarters? Oh, yeah, I called the New York headquarters. I called all day yesterday. Finally, I got them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and could finally find somebody who'd even heard of Frame Enterprises.
Well, you were obviously talking to lower-level employees.
I don't have any idea who I was talking to,
Well,
Kirk.
you should have found out, Willis.
Well, why is it that in that entire office there is nobody who has even heard of what's about to happen to me or my company?
Now, Willis, you have to understand that your company really is nothing more than some desks and filing cabinets and a few pieces of earth-moving
Oh, no,
equipment.
you're wrong.
Am I?
Yeah, that company is me, and I don't intend to become a sacrificial lamb just because Laverty Brothers is having problems.
Well, you see, that's one of the things about being a sacrificial lamb. They're not very enthusiastic about playing their role, but I'm not the one that's holding a knife at you.
Okay, then let's stop playing around. You just give me some straight answers.
I wish I could.
If you don't have the answers, then you go and get them.
Willis, I am really a very busy man, just like you are. It is not my responsibility to soothe your nerves.
Wait a minute.
You listen, Frame. I'm going to give you some advice. The next time you think you want to play rough again, I have some friends who play a lot rougher.
Yeah, well, you listen to me, because the next time I try to go after you, you're not going to have a chance to reach your friends.
You know, it's really amazing, because at one time you were a very well-behaved subordinate.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That means that at the stockholders' meeting, you behaved just like a good little tin soldier.
Yeah, well, I really didn't have much choice.
Isn't that what good little tin soldiers always say?
You were blackmailing me.
Semantics.
You said you were going to throw my sister through the gutter.
That's not the way I look at it.
Oh, no, you were just going to ruin her good name.
Now, come on, that's in the past.
Yeah, well, it may be in the past for you, but it's not for me.
We
Kurt.
deal in the present, Willis. Let's stay in the present.
Fine. Fine, then give me some answers.
I wish I could help you.
You wish you could help me?
All right, what do you want to know?
I want to know what's going to happen to Frame Enterprises.
Well, it appears that Laverty Brothers is going to go bankrupt.
Yeah. So?
So when it goes under, its various subsidiaries will be considered its assets. And unfortunately, that means the liquidation of Frame Enterprises. But as I said, it's only a few pieces of earth-moving equipment and
Just shut up.
Willis, this can't come as a shock to you.
No, it doesn't. I'm just very pleased to finally hear you tell the truth about something.
Well, I'm sorry you take it that way, because really, well, I can empathize. I have sympathy for you for your various legal and financial problems.
Oh, you have sympathy for me.
I'm grief-stricken, Willis, but as I said, I have other things to attend to.
Yeah, and meanwhile, everything I've worked for goes right out the window.
Willis, it really isn't that much.
Yeah, just in order to pay your debt.
They're not my debt.
Of course they're your debt.
I don't belong to the company anymore.
Look, if that company is that much trouble now, then it was in pretty sick shape when you bought Frame Enterprise.
It's not my problem.
Well, I'm going to make it your problem.
Stop it. Let go of him. Get out of here.
Well, you see, I haven't changed much here.
Here we are.
Oh, good.
Now, Russ, you have to tell us about Dallas.
Liz, I would be happy to tell you anything I know, but please narrow the topic a little bit.
All right, well, let's see. Tell us about your work with the cardiac unit.
Look, I've been talking about myself ever since I got here. Now, what have you and Dad been up to?
Oh, well, too much has gone on to go into that.
You still enjoying your job out at the complex?
The complex?
Yeah, the Corey complex. I guess they still call it that, huh?
Oh, yes, the complex. Well, I finally quit that job.
You quit?
Well, I certainly was not fired.
What made you decide to do that?
Because I couldn't stand to watch the insidious creeping of certain people into places of power.
Liz, I think you've said enough on that topic.
What in the world are you talking about?
I'm talking about the way a certain person has taken advantage of Mac's good nature.
I get it. There's someone new at the complex.
She's practically taken over the whole place.
Well, who is it?
Janice Frame.
Janice?
She's just got poor McCoy wrapped around her little finger.
Well, I didn't even know she was back in town, much less working at the complex.
Work? None of the Frames work if they can help it.
Liz.
Oh, I didn't mean to denigrate the entire Frame family, Russ, dear.
No, of course you didn't, Liz.
After all, you were married to Charlene.
Liz, please.
Jim, why do you keep interrupting me?
Because I think you've said more than enough on that subject.
Some things never do change, do they, Dad?
Are you referring to Liz?
Yes, I think she'd fall into that category.
Well, actually, you'd be surprised.
I would.
Liz has been changing. Unbelievable as that may sound.
Jim, why do you keep talking about me as if I weren't here?
I apologize.
All right. Well, Russ, dear, if you can't tell us about your professional life, why don't you tell us a little about your social life?
My social life?
Yes.
Liz, I have just about forgotten what that is all about.
Oh, Russ, come on now.
No, I'm serious. See, with our patient load at the cardiac unit, I just don't have time for a social life.
You mean there actually was not someone special?
Did you say something about Liz changing?
Well, I'm glad to see she's being nosy again.
Why, is that a sign of good health?
It's a sign of a good mood. When she was having her troubles at the complex, she lost interest in everything and everyone.
Now, that is not true.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah,
How
sure,
does that
Dad.
be?
Well, it could be most anybody. I mean, Dad lives here.
Oh, I bet I can get...
Honey.
I just want to tell you something, okay?
Well, come on inside.
No, wait. Just wait a minute. See, I just wanted to tell you that I was sorry that I snapped at you the way I did at Willis's. You know, the other day when you asked me about Aunt Liz's brooch?
Oh, it's okay, honey.
No, it's not okay, and I wanted to apologize.
Well, I certainly didn't mean anything by the questions I asked.
I know you didn't.
Actually, Liz is here right now,
Oh, yeah?
along with someone else who I think you'd be very happy to see again.
Who?
Come on inside.
Uncle Robert! Uncle Robert, how are you?
Oh, honey, look at you. You look terrific. How are you?
I am fine.
I'll bet you are. Look at her.
Murdoch, come in. Did you come through the lobby?
Yes, of course.
Did you happen to notice if Kirk was down there?
You mean he's in Bay City?
Oh, yes, but he shouldn't be coming back to the suite for some time.
Maybe we had better meet somewhere else.
Kirk is no longer your employer, Mr. Murdoch.
That may very well be, but that doesn't mean I want to cross him.
I'm sure you don't want to cross me either. Do you have the material I asked you for?
You mean he could come through that door right now?
There's no reason for you to be bothered.
There may be no reason for you to be bothered.
You're collecting your check from me. You're a private investigator. You're paid to take risks.
I'm not paid to be a fool.
Murdoch, sit down.
There's no need to. This won't take that long.
Sit down.
I think these are what you wanted.
Let me see them.
Just a minute.
I thought you were in a hurry.
I am.
Thank you. This is a copy of the financial report on Corey Publishers.
That's right.
Not a facsimile.
No, it's a copy of the original.
And this is a copy of the fake newspaper Kirk showed Iris.
Yes. Do you mind telling me what you plan on doing with these?
Aren't you a little late in asking?
They are still in my hands.
I have no intention of telling you what I'm going to do with them.
If you're thinking about turning these over to any governmental agency, you can just forget it.
I am not going to turn them over to a government agency.
Including the SEC?
I will not show them to the SEC.
Okay, they're yours.
Thank you.
You mind if I go now?
No, shall I show you through the door?
No. I'll find my own way out, thank you.
Oh, very well, thank you.
Just what good are those to you if you don't plan on using them as evidence with the SEC?
Oh, I'm going to use them as evidence, but not with the SEC. And now, didn't you say you were in a hurry to get somewhere?
Yeah. That was.
Honey, hi. Didn't expect to see you home so soon. Come here, let me give you a kiss.
Well, what do you expect? You want me to stay at the office all day?
Well, there must be a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of work. Answering phone calls from customers who've just found out that Frame Enterprises is going under. Dennis can do that better than I
Oh, sweetheart, it can't be that bad. Now,
can.
come
What
on.
is that thing?
That?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's a mobile. Isn't it pretty?
What does it do?
Well, look, you see? You hang it in the baby's crib like that, and he looks up at it, and if he's happy, he bats the birds, and if he's mad, he smashes them.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Maybe you should get me one of those.
I have some good news for you, honey.
Oh, good. I could use some good news, Angie.
Well, every single charge against Joey was dropped this morning in court.
Terrific.
And I bet if you work real hard on that expression, you can probably turn it right into a smile.
Sorry. It is terrific.
It's okay. I knew you'd feel that way.
Yeah, but I should have asked you about Joey as soon as I came in the door.
It's all right, honey. I know you got a lot on your mind.
I'm glad you understand that.
Yeah. You've been through some terrible things in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Honey, I want you to know that I support you in absolutely everything you've ever tried to do.
Oh,
Okay?
Angie, don't say that.
Why not? It's true.
No, you don't even know half of what's going on.
All I need to do is look at your face to know what's going on. I can see everything I need to know.
Angie, if that was true, then you and I would never have to talk.
I see everything I need to know right here.
You don't even know where I've been.
Where have you been?
I went to see Kirk.
You did?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I wanted to kill him.
You what?
Yeah, he kept goading me, and so finally I lost my temper. The next thing I knew, I had him around the neck.
What happened?
His wife came in. She started screaming. I came to my senses.
Well, thank goodness. Honey, how's Kurt?
Oh, he's fine.
Well, good. Now, you listen to me. I think you need a vacation.
Oh, great. Everything's going up in smoke. I can't do anything about it, and you think we ought to go on a vacation.
Well, I never liked the man. I told you that.
Right.
But, I mean, it's all in the past.
It certainly is.
Okay? Now, you listen to me because I want to talk about the future.
All right, what?
It concerns Gwen.
Look, I've had quite enough today, Angie.
Oh, honey, please, won't you even just listen to what I have to say?
All right, what is it?
Okay. Now, the reason you gave me for having to work with her was that you needed her so that you could get in good with Lavery Brothers,
No,
right?
no, that was not the only reason, Angie.
Well, what other reason?
She happens to be a very good architect.
Oh, yeah, so good you can't live without her?
Good enough that she enhances any project that we work on together.
What is this? You mean she's the only architect in all of Bay City who does
Look,
good
there's not going to
work?
be any more work through Frame Enterprises anyway, so could we just stop harping on Gwen?
Willis? No.
I don't want to talk about it, Angie.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm having a drink. What does it look like?
Well, it looks like you're having a drink, but it's the middle of the day.
Angie, I really don't need you to tell me what time it is.
This is the best part. Did you see the bailiff? Did you see the bailiff the second time that the judge left the room? I didn't notice. Oh, wait. His jaw almost hit the ground because he forgot to tell everyone to stand up until the judge was out. I don't know. That judge, though, he was just like mean looking.
Oh, you was. Yeah, but he did the right thing.
Well, you know, he must have been, Joey, think about it. He must have been confused. The only one. Yeah. No, I think that was a timer.
Timer? Oh, sorry.
Well, you know, whenever there's a celebration, you can leave it to Ma to make those timer cookies. That's a family custom, huh?
And chef's cookies.
Do you want me to help you at all?
Hey, now, kiddo, will you please sit down and let me do this?
Well, Uncle Paul, since when are you the cookie expert, huh?
Since I found out it was an old family custom.
Oh, come on.
Besides, you kids haven't had a minute alone since all this started. Now, sit down.
Oh, Paul, grab your cup. I'll give you some more coffee.
See you later. Come here. No, come here. You know, over here.
I am so glad that you were out of jail. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. What? Oh, sorry.
Are you mad at me?
No, wait, why would I be mad at you?
I don't know. I mean, I thought you might be mad because I told Scott about what happened between me and Phil.
I kind of figured that you did.
What do you mean? What do you mean you kind of figured it?
Well, I figured that's what the judge meant by extenuating circumstances.
I had to do it. I mean, I knew that it was the right thing. The law isn't supposed to be blind in situations like that, I guess.
Well, I guess you had to tell somebody.
You know what?
What?
I wasn't the only person who went to Scott to talk about you.
Well, who else did?
Sally did. She did, and also some other girls from Serenity House. They all went in and gave statements against Phil.
What made her decide to do that?
Well, I went to her and I asked her to do it.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
I can imagine what that was like.
Oh, it wasn't bad, really. It wasn't.
What'd you do? You just marched into your old apartment and laid down the law?
No, I didn't. I went and I talked to her at the coffee shop.
Oh, and you just convinced her like that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe you should have been my lawyer.
I don't care what anybody said. I wasn't about to let you go into prison for something you really didn't even do.
Yeah, well, the one thing about this, I didn't want them to put you up on trial there and publicly have to say what was, what happened.
Joey, don't you understand? I wouldn't have cared.
I would have cared. I didn't want you to do it because then you would have been the one on trial.
Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't even matter anymore, right? I mean, it's over and Phil left town.
Hey.
What?
You said Phil left town, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't ever want to hear that name again.
Do you feel... Well, are you sure that you don't feel differently about me now?
Am I sure?
Uh-huh.
Wait here.
Where are you going?
I want to tell Ma to keep the cookies warm.
Why?
Because I want to take you someplace.
Joey.
And now, the next part of Another World.
Hey, Dad. Listen, I hope you weren't thrown by my early arrival.
No, of course not.
Well, I mean, I did say that I would be coming in on a later flight.
Oh, it's no problem, Russ.
You sure?
Liz will have the spare bedroom ready for you in no time, then you can put away your things.
Yeah, but listen, if you did have something else planned for right now, I can take care of myself.
Russ, believe me, I didn't.
No business appointments or anything.
Oh, well, I don't do that much accounting anymore.
Uh-huh. Well, anyway, I gotta tell you, you look like you've been keeping yourself pretty active.
Oh, sure. And keeping track of my relatives is part of that.
Speaking of which, where did Sally get to in such a hurry?
Russ, when I said I keep track of my relatives, I didn't mean anything that precise.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess she's her own independent young woman now, huh?
Yeah, she sure is.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to her more.
Well, she said she'd be back soon.
Oh, that's good.
Russ, I'd like to ask you a few more questions about Dallas as long as Liz is still upstairs.
Sure, fire away.
Have you honestly been happy there?
Well, happy. Yeah, but yes, I've honestly been happy working with Dr. Cook.
Dr. Cook?
Yeah, he's the chief of the cardiac center there.
Haven't I heard of him somewhere?
You may have.
I think I read an article in a news magazine about new developments in heart surgery, and they mentioned his work.
A couple of months ago.
That's right.
Yeah, well, that's the same Dr. Cook. I remember the article.
Well, say, your boss is a famous man.
Yeah, and you just might get a chance to meet him pretty soon.
Well, I'm not planning to go to Dallas that I know of.
No, but Dr. Cook may be coming right here to Bay City.
Oh, that's lucky, isn't it?
It's not exactly a coincidence there.
What do you mean?
Well, see, one of the wealthiest men in Dallas has promised Dr. Cook funding for an advanced cardiac care center. Now, he wants it to explore and investigate all the latest advances in heart surgery.
How did that donor meet Dr. Cook?
Well, he was a patient of his, so he's recovered now.
Well, if the donor lives in Dallas, I assume he'll want the center built there as well.
No. You see, Texas already has such a facility in Houston. No, it's the donor's idea that this center should be put someplace in the country where it is really needed.
Does this have anything to do with your visit?
It does indeed. I've already talked with the donor and with Dr. Cook about the possibility of putting it right here in Bay City.
Oh. Well, where do you think it might be built?
No, there's only one place for it. It should be part of the Bay City Hospital.
Russ, are you aware that they're already building a new wing on the hospital?
Yes, I am. You see, that's the interesting part of the whole proposition. Now, they've already set that wing aside for research.
And you're going to try to interest them in letting Dr. Cook establish a center there?
Exactly.
Well, is Dr. Cook prepared to move that quickly? Oh, the new center will be, the new wing will be built soon.
Oh, sure. He's got a waiting list of patients for the program.
Well, if Dr. Cook moves back here, would you move back here as well?
Yes, I certainly would.
Oh, Russ, that's wonderful.
Yes, I think so too, Dad. Of course, I'm still hoping that the whole thing works out.
Oh, Sally, where'd you go, honey?
Had a few errands to run.
Did you get it taken care of?
Yeah, I'll take care of.
Well, come on and talk with your uncle and me, because when Aunt Liz comes down, you won't be able to get a word in edgewise.
Okay, 1 minute. I gotta do something, okay?
Okay, honey. Well, listen, tell me, Russ, you must have already had a kind of a tentative agreement or a timetable worked out for this.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I showed up here so abruptly. The schedule's awfully tight.
Well, now you know you're welcome to stay here as long as you need.
Yes, I know. I really think I should have a
Well, I understand that, but I mean, in the meantime, don't worry about it until you do get there.
Sally, what's wrong? What are you doing? I wasn't doing anything, Aunt Liz. You were putting my missing brush back in my purse. Come back here, Sally. Do you hear me?
What's wrong?
Oh, you scared. Yep.
All right, enough. I'm scared enough.
Enough already.
Enough. Oh, God, want your jacket. It's nice and warm.
Oh, look at it.
Pretty. Oh, I'm so glad that you brought me here.
Yeah? Where else would I take you?
Such a special place, though.
Yeah, for us it is.
Do you know how much I love you?
Well, it's half as much as I love you. And it's a lot.
Joey, I love you.
I love you. You know, I thought about you a lot when I was in jail.
I thought about you all the time.
Yeah, I think I knew that. I kind of felt it in the air.
Yeah?
Yeah, it made it easier for me because I knew you were thinking about me.
No, I have to tell you, though. I mean, I would get really depressed when I thought of you sitting in that cell and everything.
Oh, just forget about it. I don't want to talk about that. I got other things that I want to think about besides about what happened in jail.
Well, About. That's good.
Yeah. When I was in there, I don't know, made me kind of realize how important our time is together. You know?
Of course I knew. You know, I thought too, and I realized that I don't want to be any place except with you.
It also made me realize that I want to be able to think about the future.
You really want to do that?
And I think I want to start right now.
You do?
Yeah. You want to spend the rest of your life with me?
Of course I do.
Will you marry me?
Huh? Yes! Yes, I'll marry you.
Well, I wish I had like a ring or something to make it official.
You don't need a ring.
Yeah, like...
No, you don't.
Yeah, wait, you have this. Come on.
You don't need a ring. Don't listen to me.
What?
I love you so much. I love you, and this is the place, right here. This is the place where we made our promise together, and that's so much more important than some dumb ring. I don't want a ring.
Do you remember the words?
Of our promise?
Yeah.
What, are you kidding me? Of course I remember the words.
What? Come on.
I promised you that I'll wait forever if it takes that long to get you.
With the moon and the stars as your witness? I love you.
I love you.
June? June?
Yes.
Oh, you're still here.
What are you bellowing about?
I just came back from the airport.
Again?
That's right, I met my personal attorneys there.
Oh, good for you.
And they informed me that the SEC is bringing suit against me based on insider tips about my activities.
Well, that's very interesting.
I thought you'd think so,
Why are you telling me this, Kirk?
because apparently those tips originated with you.
You know, I think your affair with Iris has affected your IQ.
Don't get cute with me.
Why would I turn you into the SEC?
That's what I'd like to know.
Well, I didn't do it.
You can't deny it.
Why not?
Because no one else but you had access to that kind of information that the SEC now has on me.
Shouldn't a wife know all about her husband?
Not if she's trying to ruin his reputation.
I don't have to try to ruin your reputation.
No, you're providing that yourself.
Kirk, everybody knows you for the kind of man you are.
You'd better watch yourself.
Or are you worried Iris will find out that her boyfriend is nothing but a glorified con man?
Shut
Go
up.
on, go on.
Why, so you got something else to tell the law?
I ought to tell Iris. That's what you're afraid of.
I ought to kill you.
Go ahead.
You're deranged, you know that?
I'm deranged.
Why else would you be conducting this vendetta against me?
You will never leave me for Iris. Never.
Oh.
Do you understand?
You keep your
Never.
voice down.
Never.
Yes?
Mr. Laverty, is everything all right?
Yes, of course.
I was across the hall with Vivian and I heard a lot of shouting.
My wife happens to be a little bit upset, but it's nothing for you to be concerned about right now.
I just thought I'd check.
Well, you needn't have.
Is there anything I could get her?
No, if we need anything, we'll send down for it. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Good afternoon. June, I'm going to tell you something once, and you better get it straight. Iris and I are going to leave Bay City just as soon as we can both arrange it, and there's nothing you can do to stop us.
It's not polite to stare.
Honey, I've never seen you act like this before.
Oh? Am I acting some particular way?
Oh, come on, you know what I'm talking about.
I can act any way I like. There's nobody watching me. I can act any way I like.
I'm watching you.
Yeah, it seems to me that I just asked you not to.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Oh, Angie, you can help it. All you have to do is try. I mean, anybody can do anything if they try. It is the way things work, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, if you can't be agreeable, then why don't you just go, huh?
Because I care about you.
I don't know why.
Oh,
I don't care about me.
Lots of reasons why.
Oh, give me one.
Okay, I'm carrying your baby.
Yeah, well, I wanted that baby to have everything that I didn't have.
I know, honey. You can still give our baby lots and lots of wonderful things.
No, I can't.
Why not?
Because Laverty took it away. No, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to kill him.
Willis! Oh, Willis, stop!
Leave me alone.
Willis, where are you going? Come back here! Willis! Willis, come back!
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Another World.